Miss Mary Mac, 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 all dressed in black, 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 with silver buttons, buttons, buttons all down her back, back, back.
Black hood, black hood. We're called the Red Circle. Each and we're coming for you. Yeah, we will find you, find you. We will hunt you, hunt you. We will land you.
Hermione and Hiram Lodge are sneaking little Miss Mayor McCoy into Hiram's study.
And it's sort of giving, we saw you from across the bar and we liked your vibe.
Who's this wink directed at from Miss Mother Hermione? Well, to Mija Veronica Lodge.
Well, yes.
And that wink, it's reciprocated.
The wink is reciprocated, and I do have to say, I can't wink very well, and I feel like she doesn't move her face at all and winks.
Yeah,
I can't.
I can wink with each eye independently.
Wait, let me see. Uh-huh. The Elvis Presley has entered the chat.
Elvis Presley. We cut to the Andrews house. It's Mr. Archiekins getting ready for a little diddly day at school, and Fred walks in and he's like, my medical bills have been paid off by an angel donation. Angel investor?
An angel.
Fred is like, Archie, do you tell anyone about my hospital debt? Like, who could have paid this off? The Lodges. And Archie's like, no, I didn't tell anybody, just Ronnie, and I bet she did it. And it's like, girl,
yes, obviously.
You've been Barchied out of oblivion, like
Yeah.
out of your good sense. Like,
Yes.
You have to think about these
That
things.
Barchi kiss had his head spinning all the way around.
Yeah, not to mention diving into the box.
Yeah,
like,
not to mention diving into the box.
So Ronnie has paid off Fred's hospital bill. She's in the inner circle. And now Fred knows, and he's told Archie. So Archie's going to go to school kind of to confront Veronica. But as he's leaving, he picks up that old faithful, his guitar.
His guitar.
This is the first time Archie has touched his guitar all of season 2.
True. Well, I bet he's touched his guitar.
So Archie's walking on his little way to school, guitar in hand. And then suddenly, a flashbulb camera.
We're getting stalked again.
And now it's like, well, maybe it wasn't Varchi that was getting stalked in the Christmas mistletoe snowstorm. Maybe it was just Archie.
And that's even more sinister.
Because
give my man a break, please. Jeez.
Please, jeez. So Archie makes it to school. Waldo comes over the intercom and he's like, attention, students of Riverdale High. A new press release has just been sent out from Mayor McCoy. Apparently, Southside High is dead and gone.
Was this like maybe a frame of the show?
Reggie reacting negatively to the fact that Southside High is closed and all of the students are being dispersed to local alternative schools, including Riverdale High.
Ugh.
I hate those serpents.
Ugh.
I've had impure thoughts many times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I'm your secretary.
So that wasn't what I was doing.
What were you doing?
So I was actually doing, you know how, like, okay, now this is a weird one, and make me shut up if it's gonna take us too far, but
okay.
on Da Vinci Code, there's I know the book, okay. There's like the guy who has this like thorn things that he like tightens on himself when he's happily being sinful, and it's giving like nuns.
It's giving self-flagellation. While everybody at Riverdale High is bugging out about the Southside High closure, those Southside hooligans, they're happy as clams. And how does Juggy discover the news? Well, Tony's reading his manuscript of a Lovecraftian tale.
Yes, which, like, are there tentacles? And she's like, looks like you wrote this on a typewriter. Couldn't be the one Betty gave you, huh?
You aren't being weird, are you, Juggy? And he's like, well, I'm weird.
I'm a weirdo.
Fangs and Sweet Pea bust through the double doors of Southside High and they go, we're done with this place. We're done. And then they like make out.
They do. And then they're like grabbing each other and they go, you two, we're going to Riverdale High all together. Quad time.
They do have like a throwaway line where they're like, not every Southside High student is transferring to Riverdale. they're like going to nebulous other schools.
Like, I wonder if any of them have to go to Greendale, and then suddenly like, they're parts of witchcraft.
Betty, though, she is like, maybe Juggy coming back to school with me. So Betty runs off to home. A little something rustling upstairs. She whips out her pepper spray,
which looks like spray on deodorant.
And she's ready to shoot. She swings into Polly's old room. It's Polly Cooper.
Polly Cooper. Flat-stomached?
Flat-stomached Polly Cooper enters the villa. And she's like, Betty, don't shoot. Betty, don't shoot. Yeah, the rumors are true. Polly has had the twins.
And what does she name the Mason?
Juniper and Dagwood.
Now, Betty's reaction to this is, oh my God. Which, yes.
So this is a very pivotal moment where we'll look back at the linguistic history of the farm that Polly and Jason were notoriously going to run off to. This has gone from literal farm upstate. Now the farm is a community.
Like a community that has no stigma against incest twins, by
and
the
is
way.
like
she
watching
does
her
mention
babies.
that.
Yeah, they're like, they don't care, unlike mom and dad. And it's like Alice doesn't super care about.
They're not mad that they are incest twins.
Yeah,
like
they're mad that
you had. It's that they just are in general.
And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go back to the farm now. And Betty is like, what about mom and dad? And Polly's like, no, I'm cutting them out. And it's like, you know what? Hey. And we go to Archie. We'll remember that he was being stalked. He's walking home from school, guitar in hand. I feel like for the amount of guitar in hand this episode,
didn't hear him sing.
A black car pulls up next to Archie, and that tinted window rolls down, and it's like, hey, Red. He goes, Special Agent Adams, FBI.
And Special Agent Adams has a thing or two to say about Hiram Lodge.
Agent Adams is like, Archie, after that wild jingle jangled weekend with Nick St. Clair, the St. Clairs mysteriously stopped being like involved with the lodge industries, and also were, driven off the road and had a tragic accident, and it looks kind of suspicious. So that could be a crime from Hiram, along with shady business boots. Agent Adams is like, now, son, you're in a very primed, unique position where you could be a mole. Because you have access points of both Fred Andrews, Ronnie Lodge. You're inside the study with Hiram alone, sipping on bourbon. Archie is like, I don't know. Is that legal?
He's like, don't you have to ask my dad?
And
he's like,
we're reminded that Archie is 16?
Yes. And Agent Adams is like, your dad's in with Hiram. We can't talk about it with him. And Archie's like, okay.
So Archie's feeling conflicted about being a mole. And what a better way to release some tension than lay in bed and think about it. Yeah. Ronnie, the last of the core four that we haven't really talked about yet in terms of the closure of Southside High. She is elated. She is like, we need to be empathetic, loving, so supportive of all of our new classmates.
And it's sort of like, Ronnie, what's your MO?
And you'll remember at the beginning of this episode, when Winkgate was going on, Hermione was like, Mija, remember, you're going to be on the ground floor, the epicenter, the front lines of this if it happens. So remember, we trained you well. Ronnie is full-fledged, like, welcome committee for the serpents. And, they're here. Ronnie has set up a full, like, orientation desk. She's like, we've got all these extracurriculars. We encourage you to get so involved. I would love to host a serpent in my house. Like, anything you need, I've got you. On the welcome committee, it's giving Archie, Kevy, Ronnie. But not everybody is so welcoming to a serpent entering their nest. And who comes stomping down the stairs? Fascist Barbie herself?
Yes.
Cheryl, Blossom. Followed by a posse of vixens and one Regina Mantle.
Fascist Barbie, as she's coined by Tony Topaz.
Tony Topaz. This is a second Cheryl Tony interaction, and we will just flag that.
Yeah, we'll just put a pin in that.
Yeah. And it is heated. Cheryl is like, I need one thing normal in my life. My mother is running a bordello out of my living room.
But Cheryl whisks Archie into the other room because she's like, I would say that if you want to have, me not talk about your Archie lip lock session that I saw, then you should probably get off the board of the serpents.
Yeah. Of the welcome committee.
Yes.
And Archie is like, I need to interrogate Nick St. Clair.
Cheryl's like, first off, that man tried to rape me. Second, what does that have to do with what I just said?
Yeah.
And Archie's like, well, I'm just seeking justice for you. And Cheryl's like, well, I thought you wouldn't be doing this for me. I thought you'd be doing this for Veronica.
And Archie's like, her?
Yeah, he tried to do to Veronica what he did to me, but she slapped him in his bitch ass mouth. So.
And Archie's like, okay, now I'm definitely about to go attack Nick St. Clair. And Cheryl's like, whoa, wait, I'm actually so sorry. I thought you fully knew. I didn't mean to air out Veronica like that. I should have done that. We cut over to the student lounge. It's Kevy. He's chatting with someone, and it's Fangs Fogarty holding a Twizzler.
Oh, yes. And Fangs is like, yeah, you're Kevin, right? Kevin Keller? Because me and Joaquin used to hang out.
Oh. It's also giving a Fangsing, like, Keller's your last name. You the sheriff's kid? Punk? And Kevy's like, oh.
Why don't you say that in the woods? So,
are you sure?
Yeah. What happens is they get called out of the student lounge.
Oh, you're right.
And there's been a serpent spray painted on the Riverdale High emblem.
And Reggie's standing there with Principal Weatherby like, you see what they did, sir? They're just dirty snakes. And Principal Weatherby is like, I know you did this. I know you did it. And Ronnie's like, Reggie, could you be any more transparent? And he literally nods.
Points against Waldo for this one.
Yeah.
He decides to tell the serpents that any gang paraphernalia, like their jackets, like their tattoos, should be covered. I don't want to see it. And if you show up with your serpent jacket on, you are getting suspended.
It's kind of big bummer. The main person that gets super upset, though, is Juggy. He's like,
this is the hill Jug is dying on.
Family, we love this so much. Like, they're taking away all our individuality. And he's kind of like venting with Fangs and Tony at the White Worm. He says they're discriminating against us. It's clear and simple, just for what we wear. And Tony kind of gives a little like,
says the white guy.
Yeah.
Like,
and she's literally like, hey, so Juggy, like, Riverdale High is actually a really nice school. Like, there's actual books and, like, working facilities, and, like, you get, like, free MacBook Pros, like, with every class. So, like, this is low-key, like, good for us. Like, we don't mind going to school here. Plus, like, it doesn't seem like any ghoulies got transferred to Riverdale.
Yeah.
Like, inexplicably.
So it's like, sort of kind of giving, like, this, you know what, I just won't wear my jacket, I don't care.
And she's like, if it's 8 to 3, Monday to Friday, that I have to take off a jacket, like, I'm still a serpent. Like, much like how the tattoo doesn't make Penny a serpent.
A jacket does not a serpent make.
Yes. But Juggy's not having it. You never watched May December, did you?
No.
We got to get on that. Charles.
I know. Natalie Portman.
Natalie. Nat.
Just cut the fucking tree down.
Riverdale Yellow Jackets.
Betty is Misty. Ronnie is Jackie.
Ooh.
But does that make Betty
Shauna?
Yes. Dark Betty.
Cheryl is Lottie. Archie is Van. Jughead is Ty.
Ugh.
And I think to just round that out, can we make Fangs Coach Scott?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
We're back.
Bored now.
So we go to the Cooper household, and Betty has decided she is going to find the lost Cooper
son that Alice gave up for adoption when Hal entered her at the Sisters of Quiet Mercy way back in the 80s. It's kind of crazy work on her part, because she's like, so I know you're losing Polly. So I know that Polly's cutting out of your life because you don't like her incest babies. What if I gave you your long lost son? Now, I would never side with Hal, but Hal does say, like, Betty, that's not like a 1-to-1.
Yeah,
like you're kind of doing crazy work, and Alice is kind of over in the corner like, yeah, we don't want that, Betty. Cut to later that night, Alice with her hair up, and she's sitting on Betty's bed like, where is my son?
We've got to go get him.
So we go to the next day of school. Tony, Fangs, and Sweet Pea
not wearing their serpent jacket.
They're wearing literally everything else they would usually wear, just no jacket. But of course, Jughead shows up in his jacket because he doesn't care about anyone. And he literally goes up to the student lounge vending machine. He's like, la la la. And Reggie's like, take it off. Take it off. And we get, in a moment of just like blissful synchronicity, a second Reggie Juggy battle at the vending machine.
Yeah, the student lounge vending machine.
Remember, it's called necrophilia. Reggie, can you spell it? And in the funniest twist, this is a different Reggie.
Exactly.
Like,
it's just giving cinematic parallels.
Parallel play.
Mm-hmm.
Parallel play.
Pony play.
Juggy is like, I won't take off my jacket. Reggie is like, take it off now or I'm gonna beat your ass. And then do.
And then I beat your ass.
And then I dump your ass. And Tony is just sitting there like, I just wanted a MacBook.
So this little brawl happens and Jughead gets suspended. So in the aftermath of this, we go to the lodge house.
And Mayor McCoy is in the study again. And she has concerns. She's like, I thought that you guys knew what you were doing. I thought you had sent your daughter into the front lines. I shut down Southside High for you guys.
So you could secretly buy the land.
This doesn't seem to be working out well, though. Hermione and Hiram are like, whenever we buy that land, you will get so much money to your campaign for re-election. Like, don't even worry about it. Also, our daughter is on the front lines. She's doing her darndest to bridge the gap between the serpents and the bulldogs. Chill your boots.
So
it's Betty and Alice. They're at a dingy motel. This is the last known address that the Sisters of Quiet Mercy had for Charles
Smith.
Alice and Betty have gone to the dingy motel for one Charles Smith, Betty's long-lost brother, and Alice's estranged son. They simply knock on a motel room door and boom, it's Charles. And Alice is like, so you probably weren't expecting us, but my name is Alice Cooper. And he's like, I know who you are. I went by your house. Get out of my house.
Get out of my house.
And he's like, I know who you Coopers are. I bet you didn't want me. You're my sister, Betty. Must be nice growing up in that big old house with your big old lovely family. Not me, though. I'm just Charles. I go by Chic now.
And he's like, get out. I have a client coming. Because he is what? A sex worker.
And Alice holds us together. She's like, okay, just want to let you know that we're here if you ever want to reconnect. Walks into her car. Bawling.
And it's honestly, I'm very sad for her.
Honestly, I'm very sad for her. And
because
Betty,
she didn't want to give this kid up. Ugh.
Not at all. And then she didn't even know he existed, or like where he was. And then Betty was trying to do this to make up for her lost daughter, lost her son all over again.
Yeah.
Because he's like casting her off. Very sad episode for Alice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Chic has entered the villa. We go over to the White Worm. And Juggy is talking with FP. FP is like, you got suspended. What the helly? And Juggy is like, well, they were stealing our identities. FP is like, hey, girl, hey. Serpents hibernate in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to lie low. If this really is what's best for you, which I think it is, hunker down, but like,
Serpents
act
forever.
smart. Like, what does it say?
Serpents forever.
Serpents forever. Cutting back to Archie's storyline unceremoniously.
He has gone to Nick St. Clair's dorm at his stuffy little prep school.
Archie wears one of Jason's old blazers and like a tie, and he shows up and he's like, Nick, what do you know? What did you do? Why did you hurt Cheryl? I'm here to get vengeance. And Nick almost immediately is like, so you're not here because of Cheryl, you're here because of Veronica, because that only makes sense, and you're Archie Andrews, and I think you're actually just a little hick that's realizing how deep in the weeds of the mob he is. And Archie's like, no, I'm not! And he starts like punching
beating the
Nick
hell
in
out
the
of
face.
him. And that's it.
And that's kind of it. And then, Nick, both legs busted, face like a dog, gives Archie a new blood money check for Cheryl, so kind of a win.
Yeah. With the blood money, Cheryl does bring that to Penelope and is like, now you don't have to suck off men for money.
And Penelope's like, too bad I like it. Penelope is suddenly so down with like throwing away her reputation.
Yeah, she used to be very appearance based, and now she's sort of like,
I'm just full on a sex worker for the entire town to know. We cut back to school the next day. The serpents are wearing preppy clothes because it's like even a step further of like blending in. Ronnie set up this initiative of like the fashionably challenged to help out, like help them acclimate. And Juggy's like, what the hell are you wearing? I took off my jacket, but this is like next level stuff. And Sweet Pea and Tony are like, just let us have our MacBooks. But Fangs did rebel, so he's gotten suspended.
And like I said before, I've read fan fictions of this very moment.
Betty is unsatisfied with how the Charles Smith situation went. And she's like, I gotta go back there and convince him to come be my brother.
She decides to go back to the dingy motel. And what does she find?
Chick getting absolutely carved up in the hallway by some like
big burly man
with a knife. And she's like, perfect, my pepper spray. And she absolutely unleashes it on this bald guy.
And she's like, that's my brother.
That's my brother. And Chick is like, oh. And she's like, come with me. And so they run off into the night.
And
so we cut to Pops. Basically, Archie went to Agent Adams and was like, dude, I'm a teenager. Like, I don't know. I need to make sure, though, that, like, my dad, he is safe and protected from all of this nonsense.
And my
Miss
girl.
Ronnie is safe and protected from all this nonsense. She's not involved with those shady dealings. Like, she needs to be protected as well. And Agent Adams is like, okay, we'll keep you in the field for a while longer. But, you know.
Good work, Red.
We can make sure that those two things are carved out. Good work, Red. You found out a lot with that Nick St. Clair fellow. And it's like,
no, he didn't.
I have no clue what Archie is doing. Long story short, he pulls up to Pops with Ronnie, and he's like, hey, I have to be so transparent with you. I know about the Nick St. Clair issue deal, and, like...
I kissed Betty.
So
here we are.
And Ronnie's like, that's kind of crazy.
On both accounts.
But, I mean, I guess that makes sense as to why you went to beat up Nick, and I guess you're telling me now about Betty. So, like, we technically were not together during that time. I appreciate you telling me. Crazy work, Red, but you're my Archie Kens. I'll take you back.
And so they smooch.
And honestly, pretty mature conversation for these two.
Yeah, for sure. His savior complex.
It only gets richer with time. We cut to the Cooper house. This is where Betty has brought Chick, bleeding, to recover. They do some quick first aid. Alice is, like, fixing him up. Betty is getting some iodine. Chick is like, oh my gosh, a family? What's this? Post-prepification of the serpents. Post-FP pep talk serpents forever. Jughead is like, I found a loophole, my fellow kids. Let's call a meeting of...
the Serpents and Swords.
A role-play club approved by Principal Weatherby,
Waldo,
where we can all come together weekly and meet and talk about serpenty things, but under the guise of this role-play game, we will be serpents in the tall grass, dressed as preps, but secretly we will meet here and be serpent gang members inside of Riverdale High. And that's how Fangs gets brought back to school. He's convinced to be preppy by the light of day. At night, he's a dirty, dirty boy. And everybody's kind of on board. Tony is like, okay, Chug. Suddenly, Chick is standing over Betty's bed, leering.
It's really, really scary. I remember this scene
really
specifically
terrifying.
because it freaked me the fuck out.
Chick, the actor who plays Chick, has a menacing face, and we do get a close-up as he's staring daggers into Betty's sleeping corpse.
It's very scary.
Chick, I gotta go. I'm Chuck Bass.
I'm Chuck Bass.
Cooper. I'm Chick
Cooper.
Pretty big moves. Pretty tangential moves. I would say pretty...
We're setting things up.
We're setting things up in a crazy way. Archie with the FBI. Juniper and Dagwood. Chick. The serpents being at Riverdale High.
That's big.
That is massive. Crazy things that are kind of just, like, introduced, like, blasé.
Uh-huh.
excited and scared, but he drew me close and he swallowed me down a dark, scary path where lay secrets that I never want to know.